Hello YouTubers, this is Trainman122. So this is part 3 of Conrail Guy's request for a long coal train run by SD40-2s. As of right now I have it parked on the siding here and it's all set to go back down to Cumberland Yard. However, do note that I've lost my objectives on the top left corner. For some reason my objectives have disappeared. So, I mean, I know what I'm doing, and I know that the route is still going to be set for me, switches and everything, to get back to the yard, but I don't know, when I get down to the yard, I don't know if I'm going to have the switches set for me, if I'm even going to be lined into the yard properly. I mean, we're going to find out at the end of this video. But, in any case, turning on the light. This is already set up. Just flick these on. Flick these on. That's my ditch lights. That's my gauge lights. My headlight. We're gonna just forward. Handle. Oh. Almost forgot. Lead or dead. Now off. And then we go. Alright, we're underway. It's going to take some time to get back down the mountain, and I don't intend on keeping my microphone on for all of it, but once I do get underway, I do intend on turning it off. So on the, was it the last episode of this, or was it the one before, I came across a signal known as a yellow over green, or apparently advanced approach, or it was like a medium approach diverging, I believe is what it stated it was. Now, the reason I don't know all these signals is mainly because I learned General Code of Operating Rules, G-Core. G-Core is mainly used on railroads west of the Mississippi River. If you don't know where that is, just, you know, consult your nearest geography book. But anyway, west of the Mississippi River, most railroads, not all of them, use G-Core rules. G-Core rules are sort of a set guideline that not all of the rules have to be attained 100%. Most of them do. Oh, hi train. Yeah, that's nice. So not all of the rules have to be followed to the T, like absolutely. There is a little bit of wiggle room in some of them, and it's usually to make them safer or to each railroad's general what they prefer. I know some railroads, where in the G-Core rulebook it states that movement at restricted speed cannot exceed 20 miles per hour, whereas most railroads out there will prefer 15 or 10. That's just how it works. So by their rules, it's actually 15 or 10. Now, that plays into what I was about to talk about. The yellow over green signal is actually a NORAC code rule, which is used by East railroads, Eastern United States railroads. Ones like CSX, Norfolk Southern. I believe Kansas City Southern uses them, as well as many other short lines. It's just the North American rule book for trains and running of the trains, and that means slightly different signals, slightly different rules for certain areas. I believe one of the main differences is actually something to do with the rules about traversing around a harbor or dock setting. I don't fully know what that is because I was never taught in NORAC, but it's just as simple as there's just a difference. So if I was put into a BNSF or a Union Pacific train, signals are more than likely going to be my strong point. In CSX here, yellow over green, I don't really know what it means. I looked it up and I think it stated that it was a medium approach diverging or an advanced approach diverging. Something along those lines. It had something to do with having a clear signal to diverge onto another track. Approach the switch, but then it's clear beyond that. Something to do with that, but you're diverging onto a different track. So the train that just passed me actually had a yellow over green, and he must be switching up ahead. I actually don't know. I played a little bit of this round. I had a couple of errors in recording. Didn't record very well, or it was actually my hard drive that currently stores all the files that run this simulator. Somehow it got disconnected, and it caused a bit of an error where the entire simulator just stopped working because it was no longer attached to the main hardboard, the motherboard, main components to keep it running. It just stopped. And my recorder didn't know how to handle that. So it corrupted the last video file of that, so I couldn't even just try to use that. It was gone. So here I am, giving it another try a couple hours later. And waiting at a red light. If I remember correctly, I had to request permission to pass this one. However, I don't know if it's going to give it to me right away. Yeah, first attempt doesn't usually yield anything, and then you gotta wait a minute, and then second attempt lose something. Red signals. Well, in any case, I'm going to outline what's going to go down tonight. So, I'm going to drive this train. Right now, we're we're a couple miles away from the summit. I believe about 4 to 5 miles. They're about 4 to 5 miles to the summit. You'll know when I get to the tunnel. There's a tunnel just past the summit as I start going downhill. If you pay attention over here, you'll notice I start going downhill pretty quickly after I reach that tunnel. So I'm going to be just doing a night run. There's plenty of other trains that actually pass me on this one, so keep an eye out for those. I'm going to try and keep my camera in this particular position when applicable, so you guys can try and see the train going by through this window right here. There's a lot of curves that go off to the left, so it's pretty impossible to see what's on the track next to me when I'm going through those left-hand curves. So hopefully you'll be able to see them through this window right here. But it's some nice stuff. I saw a mixed manifest. I believe there's an Autorack train there again. It's pretty nice. Oh yeah, and there was a light power move as well. 2 AC-44s back to back. Just rip it up right past me. That you're probably going to see. It's very quick, but I'll try and highlight it as it happens. In any case, I should be able to try again. No? I've still got nothing. I can only assume that means I have no path. I'm not allowed to go yet. So, I'm gonna wait here. But, yeah, so lots of dynamic braking coming down the mountain. There will be a nice speedy bit towards the halfway mark. The point where I hit 50 miles an hour. Going downhill, that's pretty easy. And that'll be nice. Probably stick my head out the window. It's nice doing that. It's probably cold out there. Very cold. Don't know how cold it is now. When I started this around... what was it, about I think it was like 1400 hours, which would have been about 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, I think is when this session technically started. And it said it was about 23 degrees. and now it's nighttime. The sun's gone from the sky, and it's getting up to 6 p.m. So, can I try it now? Give me something. Nothing? Now it will let me. I don't understand this thing sometimes. So, let's go ahead, release these brakes. So, restricted speed. I have to crawl along this, look out for train cars, men or equipment following the track, stop signals, switches misaligned, derails. The railroad school taught me the phrase terms D. T-R-E-M-S-D as in, well, dog. That is the term we remember to remember exactly what restricted speed means. You must be able to stop within half the range of vision, short of trains, railroad cars, engines, men or equipment following the tracks, stop signals, derails, switches improperly aligned, and all that, so forth. Men or equipment following the track was in there. I believe I said. Maybe I missed it. In any case, so restricted speed is in reference to the front wheels of my train, the one that I'm currently sitting on top of. The 3 axles underneath this SD40-2 and my chair. And that just means that once I pass a signal that's better than restricted speed, be it an approach, a medium approach, a clear, all that stuff, as soon as my leading wheels have passed that point, I'll be free to move up to whatever speed that it'll let me. Now, as of right now, it says 15 miles an hour only. And then up there, on the upper right, you see that it says 35 miles an hour in 0.6 miles. Now, the next signal's not for another 1.8 miles. Depending on what that signal says, will determine how fast I'll be able to go after all this. After this next 1.8 miles. But even then, my train will be well past the 35 miles per hour speed limit sign, and my little red bar down here on the speedometer will say that I can go 35. However, I'm still in a restricted speed zone. I must still act as though there is something here in this block between that signal and the next signal that could potentially cause a problem with my train, or to somebody else. In any case, I need to be prepared to stop within half the range of vision of whatever that issue might be. Obviously, it's very well that there could be no issue between that signal and the next one. And, you know, just moving it less than 15 miles an hour will be just a crawl, absolutely uneventful, and it's sorry to tell you guys, it's not always going to be exciting. And in fact, what you are looking for in a normal day is uneventful. If something eventful happens, then that means somebody might be hurt, somebody might be killed. Oh, look, a train. I'll zoom in on that. Once again, they don't know how to use their signals. Oh, okay. Headlights are working now. It's 2 AC-44s. This is actually a lot like the train that just passed me already. I can tell you it's not the same one. He did not turn around. There is no turnaround point up here. But looks exactly the same. So, two AC-44s, a whole bunch of single stack intermodals. I believe this is a special type of intermodal train because it goes through an area that does not allow double stack. It might have something to do with tunnels or low bridges. I don't know. But I remember them stating in the change log for one of the updates for this simulator that this train was to be turned into a single stack only, meaning only one container per train car, simply because of height restrictions that the train meets along the route. That's to say its own route. It's probably not on Sandpatch grade, the height restriction. It's, I believe, elsewhere. That particular train, whatever it is, you know, Q whatever, is likely in need of having a shorter train to not hit anything. Alright, still crawling. And so it stays short up until its final destination, which is likely somewhere beyond the Sandpatch grade. Someplace I'll probably never know unless I look it up online. Well, good news is, when I get to that signal, I can finally pick up speed. I'm 1.2 miles from it now. Stop that. Well, it's been nice talking to you fellas, but I think this is going to be the part where I just turn off my microphone and just let the rest of the video be me driving my way down, coasting my way down the mountain towards Cumberland Yard. Once I reach Cumberland Yard, or if something interesting happens along the way that warrants me turning my microphone back on, I will. But for now, I think I'm good for now. So, talk to you later. Okay, so that just happened. I'm gonna go check on that. I'll be right back. Well, everybody, I'm sorry to do this to you, especially you, Conrail guy. I seem to be unable to finish that particular scenario. This simulator, as I've said in multiple videos, still has a lot of problems. One of them seems to be a game crashing glitch that happens when you have played a one particular save for too long. Now, I have been playing that particular service for almost, I believe it's somewhere coming up on 4 hours now, about the 4 hour mark, and the game just can't handle it. It's just not able to do it. I lost track of all of my objectives because they stopped showing up. And now I don't know where else to go with that. It's just it won't let me. There was no reason for why it crashed, just that the game entirely just went away. I don't know why. So to end off the video, I figured maybe we'll take some time to rail fan. Show you guys what this simulator is good at. And that's atmosphere and rail fanning. I've decided to spot myself up here at Hyman. Hyman, I believe is how it is. Next to these really nice chassis system cabooses. Caboose. I call them caboose. It's the plural for caboose. Everybody needs to know this. And I've also dropped myself in at a particular time when two trains are supposed to meet. They're going to meet down that way somewhere, but this is a really nice location to railfan from. Ties, two cabooses, two caboose. There's a couple of railroad crossings down here. And our first train is actually going to be coming from around that bend any moment now. So, I don't know. Should I stand here? Should I stand at the crossing? I think I'll stand at the crossing. Now, something I want to point out is that one of these two trains that we're going to see is actually the train that I was trying to finish. It's the, I forgot its name already. It's the U8 something something. Now, the coal train that I was trying to finish for Conrail Guy, part A of the train, remember it's split up by A, B, C, and D. Part A is actually due to arrive here in just a few moments. I figured maybe I'd end it off by just seeing that one drive by us. Might be just something to end it off. I feel horrible. I wasn't aware that that issue was still occurring, and gave the impression that I would be able to do a multiple part series on one particular train run, and it looks like I can't. Because even as we speak, the save file for that has already been overwritten by this. That's right, save files, as far as I can tell, are based off of the last... there's a particular selection. There's a particular selection when you go to the services menu, or I'm sorry, at the menu where you can pick from certain things. One of them is just simply titled Last Played. or recently played. That is your save file. And every single time you go into a service or just do whatever else you want to do, that counts as overriding that file. It counts as the most recent thing you did. So me standing here right now next to these caboose, waiting on a coal train, there it is. I've overwritten the save file. I'd have to go through the entire process to get it all back. As I said, it has problems. But, wow, is it pretty. Well, that sums it up. That's the train I started all this with in part 1. I drove past this exact area and now I'm watching it drive away. I can't do anything but watch. Now, one can only hope that everything gets fixed. It's been a long time, but I guess they might just be more focused on content rather than fixing all these major bugs. You know, money. They always want money. Well, in any case, I'll give you a little tour of the caboose over here, and then I'll probably end it right there. Yeah, invisible wall. Okay. This is what's known as a bay window. Bay windows are, well, they stick out like this. Around the, was it about 1920s, I want to say? Probably even before that. Cabooses like this one were starting to get outdated because the freight cars that they were using, they were all getting taller, bigger, wider, and that was a problem because, as you can see there, that heavily relies on being able to see over all the train cars ahead of it. And with them getting taller than the caboose itself, that became a problem. So the bay window was the answer to that. Just, if you can't see over it, look past it. Which trains could never be wider than about that far. Roughly that far for the gauge. This is also a good representation showing why you shouldn't stand on the railroad tracks here. So, as you can see here, you're firmly planted right about where the tie ends. There's still plenty of trains sticking out here to smack you. You're going to want to stay well back from them. Well, farther than this, but I have an invisible wall. And that's your typical Kubla style. It might even be a wagon top caboose. I think. I don't know. I actually can't enter these, unfortunately. I really wanted to, but we can't. And these in real life are actually stationed here. They are owned by one man who has turned them into a sort of summer home where he just, I don't know, cooks in one, lives in the other, and just sits here next to the tracks on the sandpatch grade. All this used to belong to the Chessie system, or Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad. Yeah, there's nothing else coming. So, really does make sense that someone interested in Chessie system would definitely go that route. I don't really know what the wireframing does. Well, in any case, fellas, everybody, I hope this was still enjoyable for you, and I hope to make, I hope to branch out of Train Sim World for a little bit, only because I'm getting tired of having to work around all these glitches. So I kind of have a few thoughts on where I'm going to go next. But until then, I'm just going to sign off. See you later, guys.